Good morning and happy Monday. I hope everyone's had a great weekend and looking forward to a good week. We had our daylight savings time kicked in yesterday, so I'm at the office. It feels like I'm here super early, but I'm actually here on time. I wanted to pop on here for just a brief moment to talk about something that kind of came to me over the weekend. I went to the grocery store this weekend and they were busy and the checkout lines were kind of backed up, so I had to wait a while. And as I was standing in line, there were people all around me, lines on both sides, baskets full, and I can't help but just pay attention and notice what people are buying, what they're shopping for at the grocery store. And this particular day, and this is not always like this, but this particular day, it seemed like everybody around me, every basket I looked in, and they were all full, but every basket was filled with a bunch of junk processed food. And it made me think of this book. I've mentioned this before. It's called The Craving Cure by Julia Ross. And I really like this book because in it she talks about three classes of carbohydrates. She calls them the good, the bad, and the ugly. And she talks about I guess the good carbohydrates would be more like the carbs found in vegetables and fruit, good whole food type of carbohydrates. The bad carbohydrates would be like sugar products, carbs that are really high in sugar with a lot of added sugar. But the ugly carbs, or these techno carbs as she calls them, that is this processed food. This is highly processed foods that the food industry has treated or manipulated, if you will, in order to make it more palatable. And she talks about this in the book, that, and it's not that it's some nefarious thing necessarily. I mean, these food manufacturers, they want to create products that people enjoy, that people like, that people will buy again and again and again. So they've learned how to take chemistry, and they can manipulate it, and they can add things and flavorings and texture enhancers and such as that. And it's all talked about in the book, that will actually trigger the pleasure centers of your brain and make you crave that food. And that's how these food cravings are a big part of how they begin. So, as I was thinking about that, I wanted to share with you a story of how I have dealt with this, because I have certainly dealt with my own food cravings. I have been addicted to junk food before. In fact, when I read this book, about the cravings, and read about the techno carbs, what I thought about was cheese-flavored Doritos. Now, I'm going to tell you, I used to be addicted to cheese-flavored Doritos. And I mean, I always kept a bag in the house. It was my comfort food. It was the kind of thing where after a hard day, a stressful day, man, I would go home and I would want to eat some of those chips. I've even had some experiences where, I would go home and maybe eat a whole bag of the chips. So it was just crazy. Now, this has been many years ago. This has probably been 12 years ago, 13, 14 years ago. And, and I realized it was a problem. And so, I made a decision to stop eating cheese-flavored nacho cheese Doritos. And to this day, I still have to be careful. I mean, every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, if I'm out, I might get a small bag and just have them for old time's sake. And you know what? They still taste delicious. My brain still likes it, but I also still know they're not good for me, so I stay away from it. So I have dealt with that, and I've dealt with ice cream cravings. That's another food that's discussed in the book, and that's been highly manipulated. So if you have addictions to junk food, if you've got some sort of techno carb that you're addicted to, don't feel alone. At the same time, I highly encourage you to stop buying that food, to stop eating that food. When I look at the overall state of health in our country today, and when I look at the damage that this pandemic, that this coronavirus has done to our country, the number of people that it's made sick, not to mention the number of people that it's killed, in my mind and in my way of thinking, that's a direct result of the overall level of health of our citizens. And to me, it's just really sad that so many people were so unhealthy that they couldn't survive this virus. And that's what I want to work on. Hopefully none of us will ever live through another pandemic or through another epidemic or through another crisis like we've had over this past year. But my goal is, if that happens for you, whether it's, you know, in the near future or the distant future, if we are ever faced with another health crisis like this, it's my hope and my desire that you will feel healthy enough, that you will feel strong enough, and that you will feel safe enough in your body's own ability to handle whatever may come this way. So if you're having trouble with carbs, if you're having trouble with junk food, with processed foods, if any of that, come see me. That's one of the things that we help people with doing our nutrition programs. We help people get off these bad foods, help people develop healthier ways of eating, healthier lifestyles, and just develop overall health. All right, that's all I wanted to say this morning. Everyone have a great Monday, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.